from Italy, from Torino, from Turin. The winners of the Scholarship for Young Ufologists are Filippo Sarpa and Sara Rolando.
Thanks to Star Work USA for inviting us.
And thank you all for being here today.
So it's our very first conference as speakers, and for us to be here among you all to open an event like this, it's an incredible honor, and we are so excited we can hardly describe it with words what we are experiencing right now. So, really. First of all, we would like to thank the people who made this incredible experience possible for us. And these people are Paula Harris, who has always supported us since the first time we met her, and Miss Anne Gelsheimer, who unfortunately is not here today, but who awarded us with the Scholarship for Young Ufologists. So thank you, Paula and Anne, from the bottom of our hearts. Really, thank you. Well, what are two foreign language students doing here today in Nevada, in this occasion? Before revealing it to you, we would like to recall some specific words. We think that never before in the history of mankind have these words been able to describe in such an appropriate, crystal clear way the crossroads that humanity has now reached. You will definitely know these words because they are very famous. They were heard and reported by Colonel Philip Corso himself back in 1957 in his book, A Dawn of a New Age. These words are, a new world if we can take it, if you can take it. So, we think that we are now facing a choice. We are now facing probably the choice. Never have we had such an urgency to drastically change our perception of reality, to reconsider our relationships with one another, with every creature living on this planet and outside it, to reconsider the way we relate with this great cosmic mystery which is life itself. Yes, mankind is now at a crossroads, so we must choose whether to continue along the old path, a path leading nowhere, leading to a dead end, leading to an unsurmountable wall, or rather to change, to evolve, to become something profoundly different from what we are now, something far more elevated. So we need to prove that we can earn this new world. But you know, evolution is not that simple. It requires a lot of effort. It requires a great challenge against ourselves. But the miracle of rebirth can only happen if we have enough strength, enough courage to die a little, to let that dead weight go and finally be able to fly. And it is without no doubt a great challenge, and it appears to be even more harder, even more difficult, if we observe that it involves at least two different levels. And each of us should try to contribute to this challenge for a new world on both these levels. The first one concerns divulgation, the spreading of information. Because the world population cannot be willing to change if they're not even aware of what is happening on this planet right now. People need to know. As many people as possible need to be acquainted with the facts and the dynamics which are currently taking place, and even with those which will possibly happen in a near future, much nearer than we can now imagine. Divulgation is a challenge between us and those who want to keep humanity in prison, in the darkness of ignorance. It is our personal challenge unfolding in the external world. On the contrary, The second level is the inner one, the level of consciousness, the level of spiritual evolution. It is essential that, above all, the change occur inside each of us on an individual basis, because we cannot be so arrogant to think we can change the world without even trying to change ourselves first. This is pretty obvious. And what is most surprising about individual growth is that it affects the external world around us without any other effort, like magic. Because when we are focused on ourselves, when we want to be the change and do not ask the other to be so, the world around us starts to transform. As far as we can go right now, we are trying to play our part on both these levels. How? Well, as far as consciousness is concerned, we are now experiencing the power of meditation. Meditation is a wonderful tool we can use to reconnect with our most intimate essence. We can use it to improve our lives, to be able to live the present moment fully, to experience everything life offers us. And over the last 2 years, we've been dedicating our time and effort to a particular meditation discipline called Oneness Diksha. This discipline comes from India, and it consists in a transfer of cosmic energy from one person to another through a sort of laying on of hands. And this kind of energy aims at producing a neurobiological change in our brain, with the final goal of achieving the so-called spiritual awakening. Being awakened means living only in the present moment, enjoying it fully, experiencing everything life offers us. And once we've reached this state, we are always able to experience love and joy without condition, no matter what is happening around us. Some months ago, we became Diksha givers too. That means that we've been initiated and taught how to transfer this energy to everyone who wishes to receive it. But of course, Diksha is just one of the innumerable ways we can walk to reach this goal. Because nowadays there are countless disciplines available to help mankind towards the spiritual awakening. But we know that there are countless ways, but only one destination, because these ways are just a bridge, not our final destination. The final destination is nothing but ourselves, our intimate nucleus of pure joy and love, when there's nothing but pure, unbounded love and joy for everyone and everything. No kind of work, no kind of challenge headed towards the external world can succeed without a proper inner work. And without this kind of work, without inner evolution, as long as our level of consciousness remains too low, any challenge, any attempt to change the current status quo is bound to fail. And you know, history is always the best teacher, and we are perfectly aware that nothing has really ever changed through mere external actions. I mean, every revolution in political terms has always meant a shift in those who hold the power, but has never put an end to misery, sufferance, and injustice. So what we truly need right now is the only revolution that could make this world a better place, and that is the revolution of human consciousness. So according to our possibilities, we are trying to help ourselves first and those around us by working on our consciousness and practicing Diksha meditation. And how are we contributing to divulgation, the second level? Well, this challenge may prove itself to be even harder, because our aim is to bring certain specific issues to the attention of the Italian academics, to bring them to the attention of the authority in the education and research field. These issues are the possibility of a contact between mankind and other civilizations in the past in Latin America, as well as the exopolitics matter. These subjects will be analyzed in our final dissertations in anthropology, which are going to be presented at the University of Turin in March 2017. Yes, we are studying foreign languages and literature, but we've been authorized by the university to write a dissertation in anthropology because it was the only way to talk about these issues in an academic environment. And yes, we are fully aware that we are not the first to discuss such topics in an academic environment, but being the first is not of our concerns. I mean, what we really want is to divulge, to bring these issues to the attention of the authorities, and to take explicit stand on the matter. To be clear, our works will not be merely descriptive, as often occurs in dissertations about the UFO phenomenon. We will not hold ourselves back by just describing theories and studies in a cautious, detached way, avoiding any personal opinion or judgment. No, we will express our positive opinion in favor of the work produced by the dozens of people who dedicated their lives to seek the truth. We will express our positive opinion in favor of the testimony of those people whose lives were affected accidentally by an extraordinary experience. We wish to launch an appeal to the scientific and academic community, because these issues deserve to be studied properly, because the future of mankind is at stake here. We wish to propose an alternative path of investigation. We wish to ask the scientific community to explore new research fields that could offer an incredible opportunity for our progress as species. A progress that this time would eventually be not only on a material level. We are fully aware that this is going to be a tough challenge because our board of examiners, to whom we are going to present our dissertations, have already been quite explicit about it, because their attitude is not, they're not in favor of our dissertations. They're not going to welcome them. But the only way to avoid lack of interest or even disrespectfulness and scorn is to carry out our research based on seriousness. And seriousness means limited speculation, objective reporting of the facts, presenting verified elements and evidence, collecting interviews with the people directly involved in the field, and, above all, our personal field research. So now, I will give the floor to my colleague, Filippo, who is going to present our field research in Latin America.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarah. Well, as regards the study of a possible contact in the past between mankind and another far more advanced civilization in Latin America, serious field research meant for us a one-month visit in Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island in Chile in an entirely self-funded and self-organized journey. And we'd like to tell you countless things about this journey, but it would take days, so we'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So, in Latin America, we visited a lot of wonderful places filled with mystery. Mystery whose explanation provided by mainstream history and science never fully satisfied our curiosity, and of course that of many other people before us, including great scholars too. And it has been proved that the vast majority of the commonly accepted truths about those places do not hold water. During our visits, we interview both the researchers active on the territory and the native people among whom we've been given the chance to speak with several shamans too. And the testimonies of the shamans are of great importance to us because they are those who hold incomparable knowledge about the places we visited. The interviews we collected confirm that there are a number of serious unanswered questions about our past that deserve proper investigation. Our journey across Southern America started in Peru, in the Paracas Peninsula, 200 miles from the south of the capital, Lima. And there we had the pleasure to see with our own eyes the famous Paracas elongated skulls and to speak in person with the experts. As you may already know, the skull seems to be naturally elongated and not the result of artificial cranial deformation. At the moment, researchers are trying to figure out whether they are dealing with an unknown human species. A species who walked the Earth not so much time ago, we're talking 3,000 years ago, or maybe fewer. And it's practically yesterday compared to the range of the human evolution paradigm. And what is most interesting, of course, is that you can find evidence of elongated skulls all over the world and throughout millenniums. And now we wonder, why aren't we investigating these issues day and night? Why aren't we investing funds, energy, and time in such an important matter? Because it is about our evolution. Another clear example of an unanswered mystery that you're familiar with for sure, everyone is familiar with for sure, lies in the Nazca Desert in Peru. We flew over the lines, we interviewed the locals, both guides and common people. We collected their testimonies. And of course, this has been done by countless people before us. But we wish to ask, in an academic context, the anthropologists and other academics, how it was possible to create such perfect, huge geoglyphs in the middle of the desert with the tools available in the past as we know it, of course. Above all, what was their purpose? Why were these lines scraped for hundreds of feet, stretching on a surface of 50 miles, lines that could only be appreciated from miles above? We want to ask why there is an astronaut, as this geoglyph was named, with big eyes glaring at the sky and waving his hand as if to say welcome or goodbye by those who could observe it from the above. We visited many megalithic sites in the area of Cusco, capital of the old Inca Empire, Machu Picchu, and many other structures located in the sacred valley of the Inca. Most of you will certainly know these places very well. And you cannot fail to notice the absolute perfection concerning the cut, the shape, and the juncture of the stone blocks. We cannot fail to notice that the blocks show signs of vitrification and that their edges appear to have been melted and joined together. Those blocks are without any doubt the result of a higher technology which was definitely not available to the Inca people 500 years ago. Well, again, we're asking the scientific community, we're asking the academic community to investigate and to provide satisfying explanation of how a Bronze Age culture could be able to carry out such complex stonework. And as I said before, the currently accepted theories, which involve stone hammers and copper chisels, are completely unconvincing. We reached Easter Island too, and apart from the famous Moai statues, which should deserve entire conferences and thousands of pages of study, we visited a megalithic site called Vinapu on the southeast of the island. Aku Vinapu is a megalithic structure whose appearance resembles in a very impressive way the Peruvian mysterious buildings. And again, as for the skulls, we can find the very same construction techniques, or maybe the result of a higher technology all over the world. For instance, in Egypt with the pyramids, in Turkey in the site of Alakoyuk, in Japan too. This is the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. That's why it's time to start thinking of exploring new possibilities, to take into consideration what our limited minds classify as irrational or impossible. Back to Cusco, Peru, a far more plausible explanation about those sites compared to the mainstream theories was given to us by a shaman we met, who revealed to us that the fortress of Sacsayhuaman is not a fortress at all. And it wasn't built by the Inca people, his ancestors, for sure. He spoke instead of cosmic brothers who built a dimensional portal. And such dimensional portal could only be crossed by those who had reached a higher level of consciousness. He defined Sacsayhuaman as the library of the universal culture. We don't know the exact meaning of these words, and probably few people in the world know it. But what we know for sure is that its original purpose was not that of a fortress. And of course, as regards our dissertations, this testimony alone cannot claim to have scientific value, of course. However, together with the studies of the engineers and several other professionals in various scientific fields who have proved that it was not possible to build those megaliths with stone hammers and copper chisel, that irrational testimony of the shaman starts to become a little less irrational. And Peru has countless places like Sacsayhuaman. Those places deserve to be studied, and we should be studying them 24/7. Why aren't we there right now with the best team of professionals under the guidance of the shamans, trying to figure out what happened there and what those buildings were there for? It is important because our present can only make sense if we manage to achieve a true understanding of our past first. And this is our only chance to create a better future. It is essential that those in charge of defining what can be considered true knowledge and what cannot start to widen their horizons, start to step outside the comfort zone and to step out the fence they built to protect themselves from what they consider irrational. And the same goes for the dissertation dedicated to the exopolitics issue. We will analyze the work of the most important scholars, personalities from politics and military involved in the issue. At the same time, we will also present highly valuable interviews like the one we had with the Apollo 14 astronaut, the great Dr. Mitchell, whose spirit left this plane of existence last February, and whom we remember today as one of the greatest men to contribute to the challenge for a new world. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. And for us, seriousness means bringing to the attention of the academics testimonies of such caliber. When we told one of our supervisors that we had interviewed the 6 men on the moon and that he had told us in a very explicit way that a non-human civilization had decisively intervened to avoid a nuclear war between the US and the Soviet Union, he was left astonished. The supervisor said, "You what? You had an interview with the 6 men on the moon and he spoke about alien intervention during the Cold War?" He got into full cognitive dissonance mode. His beliefs about history and life, his mental structures, everything he had carefully built until the moment had to cope with new incompatible information. It was like we had opened the door to the universe for him, and a door he was too afraid to walk. And this proves that too many facts, events, and dynamics which happened in the past and are happening right now are still not enough divulged. And that's why certain issues are considered foolish or irrational by the majority. What we want to assert is that there is no rational reason for which this kind of research concerning the contact between mankind and other civilizations, both in the present and in the past, should be considered unworthy by the academic authorities. Moreover, not only do we want to assert the worthiness of the exopolitics studies, but we also want to point out that they are necessary for our survival and evolution on this planet. We need to approach this new world properly, and we need to do it right now. So, in conclusion, we can now answer the initial question, and that is why we are here among you today. Well, we are here to learn from the experts here present, to learn how to carry out our project properly, and to learn how to make the most of the energy and effort we are putting into it, to learn how to contribute in the best way we can to the birth of the new world Colonel Corso spoke of. What is essential right now is that the wind of change start blowing from the younger generations. Young people need to be more and more involved in this kind of activities. They are called upon to take the reins of the future of mankind. In order to accomplish what we have never accomplished since our first steps on this planet, we need the energy of the younger generations. They have to put their best efforts into the challenge, whilst looking at the incredible experiences and goals achieved by their predecessors and follow their footsteps. Because it was precisely the energy of the young people of the past that paved the way for us, that literally built new pathways, that despite all the difficulties and obstacles, literally threw open the door for all of us to the new world. It's time for the young people of the present to take humanity by the hand and walk it through the door. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, thank you. Andiamo? Prendiamo questo.